Marvel's new series, Wonder Man, faces down superhero fatigue head-on, but its self-aware approach nods to some deep comics history too. Wonder Man stars Yahya Abdul-Mateen II as Simon Williams, a struggling actor hoping to make his name by starring in a remake of a 1980s superhero film of the same name. He's also hiding some superpowers, which are apparently disqualifying for the role.
I'm gonna need you to sign this to confirm you don't have superpowers.
Yeah.
Already then, there's a little bit to wrap your head around here. Decades before Iron Man hit the scene in the MCU timeline, film studios were making superhero movies in that reality. They did at least have the Captain America template to work off of.
A superhero remake. Not exactly what we'd expect from an Oscar-winning director.
So, the big thing we can all expect from this series, which is being called a mini-series, though there's been some discussion of the possibility of a second season, is a lot of Hollywood insider joking around about the state of superhero films in 2026.
Everyone is tired of superheroes.
It's honestly pretty bold for this to come from Marvel itself, but the jury's out on how successful it'll be. The last time Marvel did some meta-comedy about its creative process, it was pretty divisive, to say the least.
I will answer your questions, but you must first transform back to Jennifer.
Why?
You are very expensive.
And surely there'll at least be some explanation of how the fictional Wonder Man came to exist in the MCU, a world with honest-to-goodness superheroes. Speaking of divisiveness, the character tying the series into the MCU at large, at least to start, is Ben Kingsley's Trevor Slattery. Wonder Man marks the fourth Marvel project in which Slattery has appeared. He debuted in Iron Man 3, where it initially seemed as though Kingsley was playing longtime Tony Stark nemesis, the Mandarin. But to sidestep that the character had always been a racial stereotype, his version of the Mandarin turns out to just be a figurehead portrayed by Slattery, an actor who essentially just served as a mouthpiece for advanced idea mechanics and his real leader, Aldrich Killian. Slattery is ultimately arrested for his part in AIM's plans, but he revels in the publicity. Slattery next appears in the one-shot short film All Hail the King, which was included on the Thor: The Dark World Blu-ray. It catches up with Slattery in Seagate Penitentiary, where the actor is living a celebrity life after his infamous crimes. By the end, the man posing as a documentary filmmaker profiling him reveals himself to be a member of the terrorist group The Ten Rings, working for the real Mandarin, and abducts him from the prison. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings finally offers up Slattery's fate. The real Mandarin and head of the Ten Rings is revealed to be Xu Wenwu, Shang-Chi's father. After being taken from Seagate, Slattery is forced to serve as Zhu's court jester, reciting Shakespeare monologues for his entertainment. Shang-Chi eventually rescues Trevor from his captivity. That has all led Trevor to where he is in Wonder Man, hoping to revive his acting career with a role in the Wonder Man remake after his diversion into international supercrime.
Where have I seen him before?
Pretty sure he used to be a terrorist.
The trailers for Wonder Man give a pretty good idea of the Hollywood satire and buddy comedy that the series is sure to be. But an even better indicator of the show's satirical tone are the promotional videos Marvel has been putting out for it. Instead of genuine behind-the-scenes featurettes or serious interviews with the actors or creator Destin Daniel Cretton, they're parodies of videos promoting big projects you're sure to have seen online. The one titled Actors Unscripted is a clear parody of Variety's Actors on Actors series, for example, where Slattery and Williams sit down for a conversation with one another. At least at first, that's what it is. It then becomes a Hot Ones parody, then a parody of BuzzFeed's Celebs Play with Puppies. It goes on to send up Vanity Fair's lie detector test interviews, following that up with a satire of Wired's videos about celebrities learning slang terms. Finally, Williams gives up and walks out.
Let me up. That's good.
Just roll with it.
Oh, that's good.
In another video, Slattery appears on a parody podcast hosted by Turner Movie Classics host Ben Mankiewicz. It's called Bad Actors and features interviews with actors who are also felons. When Mankiewicz keeps asking about the Mandarin, Slattery freaks out.
Addressing the Mandarin, I think, is essential to understanding who you are as an actor.
This is an ambush. I don't like this. It's an ambush.
One More Video, an inside look at Wonder Man, serves as a parody of Marvel's own behind-the-scenes featurettes. Kingsley and Abdul Mateen stay in character as Slattery and Williams throughout, and they really get to play with the details of their odd working relationship.
Wasn't Trevor the Mandarin?
Oh, yeah, no, I don't want to talk about that.
So if you find any of these particularly funny, you're likely to get a kick out of the series. It's clearly for fans who are plugged into the world of how movies are hyped here in the 2020s. Trevor Slattery is an MCU original creation, but Simon Williams has been part of Marvel Comics since the Silver Age, first appearing in Avengers issue 9 back in 1964. He wasn't initially an actor though. In his first appearances, Williams is the heir to a munitions company, a competitor of Tony Stark's. After getting caught in an embezzlement scheme, Williams makes a deal with Baron Zemo and the Masters of Evil to help them infiltrate the Avengers. They use ionic rays to turn him into Wonder Man, and the new superhero demonstrates his new powers to join the Avengers. Zemo and his cohort enact their plan to kill the Avengers, but Wonder Man has second thoughts about the idea. He turns against the Masters of Evil and halts their plan. In the process, he appears to die. Zemo attempted to maintain control over Wonder Man by requiring him to take a serum, without which he would be killed. Wonder Man remained on the shelf for years after that, partially because of legal action from DC Comics, who thought his name was way too close to Wonder Woman's. 1968's Avengers issue 58 reveals that Simon Williams didn't die completely. Upon his apparent death, Hank Pym preserved Simon's brain patterns, whatever those are, in a computer, and kept him alive, but catatonic in suspended animation. Eventually, Ultron steals those recorded brain patterns and uses them to create the android The Vision. For many years, Williams mostly lived on in the form of The Vision.
But what is grief, if not love? Persevering.
Simon's brother Eric Williams also repeatedly attempted to get revenge on the Avengers, whom he blamed for Simon's death, as a supervillain, the Grim Reaper. In the mid-70s, Wonder Man was briefly resurrected twice, once by Kang and again by Black Talon and the Grim Reaper, to fight the Avengers as a zombie. The first time, Wonder Man goes back to his semi-dead catatonic state, but the second time, he ends up fully revived at the hands of the living laser. It's after this revival that Simon takes up an interest in acting and lands some roles with the help of Hercules. He also starts working as a stuntman. After his revival, Wonder Man becomes a founding member of the West Coast Avengers. He got a solo one-shot story in 1986, which explores him becoming disillusioned with dwindling acting opportunities. He takes a job as a troubleshooter at a tech company. In 1991, Wonder Man got his own solo ongoing series, which ran for 29 issues. That series finds Simon back in the acting game and serving as a sort of local hero in Los Angeles. To be honest, things were far from eventful in Wonder Man's appearances outside of his own series. After the West Coast Avengers disband, Wonder Man helped start the spin-off team ForceWorks. He's killed in an explosion in the very first issue of the series. 4 years later, Scarlet Witch revives him using her reality-altering powers in an issue of Avengers. It should be pretty clear by now that Wonder Man has always been a C-tier Avenger, even when he's gotten his own solo books. That's made him one of those characters who tends to waver back and forth between being a hero and a villain. For example, during the Civil War storyline in the mid-2000s, he's essentially extorted into creating propaganda for the side-pushing superhero registration efforts. Simon becomes deeply disillusioned with the Avengers after that, coming to believe they do more harm than good. He forms the group the Revengers in an attempt to rid the world of their influence, but is eventually defeated when Iron Man traps him in a prison made specifically for him and his ionic powers. Not long after that, Simon apologizes and makes amends with the Avengers once again. He even became a pacifist. It's just a lot of fence jumping from this guy, because it really feels like writers often don't know what to do with him otherwise. One character from the trailers we haven't really talked about yet is Von Kovak, the award-winning and highly eccentric director of the Wonder Man remake, played by Zlatko Boric, who you may remember from 2025's Superman.
We are going to make the last movie on Earth. No one will have the balls to make another.
By all indications in the trailers, Kovak is just a weird guy with some grandiose ideas, but there are at least some signs that something else is going on with him. First off, the trailers make pretty clear that Simon will become a superhero at some point, taking the reverse path from his comic book counterpart from actor to hero. The Damage Control already has its eye on him.
The Department of Damage Control considers Simon Williams an extraordinary threat.
and every hero needs a villain. It just so happens that Kovak has a very similar name to an Avengers villain who had a history with Wonder Man in the comics, Michael Korvac. Korvac is a low-level technician living in the year 2977 when he chooses to betray humanity to the invading alien race, the Badoon. His betrayal gets him a modest position within the Badoon Empire, despite the Badoon usually mocking him. After Korvac has a moment of conscience upon helping take down a resistant cell, the aliens turn him into a cyborg by grafting his torso onto a bulky computer module. From there, Korvac uses his abilities to attempt to take over the Badoon Empire. In the midst of that, the powerful Grandmaster sent him back through time to use him as a pawn to fight the Defenders. But Korvac steals Grandmaster's time-traveling abilities. That enables him to invade Galactus' ship and steal the power cosmic, giving him godlike capabilities. Inevitably, Korvac has a major showdown with the Avengers in the storyline, the Korvac Saga. One of the heroes who helps take down the incredibly powerful being is Wonder Man, who in the process overcomes his overwhelming fear of death. And that's good for him because he dies often. Since then, Korvac has returned several times as both a villain and a more benevolent cosmic force. Does this mean the director of the in-universe Wonder Man movie is secretly a conquering cosmic force from a millennium in the future? Probably not that exactly, but now you know where the name most likely came from.